Hello, hi. Um, yeah, hello, hi. Whoever's watching, hello, hi. Can you whoever's watching, please comment. Um, yeah, comment down below. Well, comment in the comments just so I know that the live is working. I know the sound might not be proper, but at least just comment. And then the idea is just so at least you can hear of what I'm going to explain here today while on this live. Um, yeah, okay, 5 viewers. That's better. That's better. So again, if you're watching this, just comment, say something, just so I know that you can hear my voice, and you can also see on the screen, which is currently showing my live well details, I guess, in this case. And then from there we'll continue in a minute. Yeah. Oh yeah, also you can just mention in the group that I am live, so that people may know that I'm live now at the moment, and I'm only gonna get this chance to explain to everyone who is having trouble with the current practical. And again, I'm not going to do the answers, I'm actually going to do examples. So instead of doing what's asked in the practical, I'm going to do the opposite. So yeah, if they want an arithmetic and it's an addition, I'm going to do a subtraction example. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, once again, like I said, yeah, if you have any question, also comment on the live chat, on the chat, or don't comment, just text it in the chat so I can see what is it that you are crying about, or you want clarity on. And then yeah, from there we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, um well, I hope everything goes well, because yeah, it's not gonna be easy going live at the same time using my Visual Studio here. My PC might be a bit slow, and also mind you, I won't be using VPL since I don't have access to it. So I'm going to be using this VPL, I mean this VS here to do my code, and then you'll see how fun it is to code on these applications, which are the ones who you guys were supposed to be using. But it seems that your lecture is has some other plans for you this year, this semester actually. So yeah, okay. Uh, so here's what I'm going to do. Uh, example. Uh, 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 I'm just going to look something for something that's not in the question paper, but at least similar to the one in the question paper. And for this one, I'm actually looking for the one that has at least well, this one I can actually just guess. Um, okay, let me just check for the last time. Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, yes, thank you there. So let's continue. Um, I'm going to use, as I said, I'm going to use examples here, and then maybe I should just explain what's happening here before we start, because I don't think the problem is the first part. I don't think this is the problem. If you're having problem with this part, I don't know, but you can just comment or text or just yeah say something. I mean, if you're having problem, if you don't understand this part, then yeah, you are in deep trouble, because this is just the start of your practical. You're supposed to declare two variables that will be used to take two inputs from the user. And I'm also going to be as low as possible so you can understand what's happening with the practical. So yeah, so two inputs, right? Two variables. So one will be used to get the number of terms, and then one will be used to get the choice. Well, one will be used to do what again? Well, one will be used by the user to choose their option, whether they want sequence of A, B, C, or D, or E actually. So this variable will just be able, the user will have to input a letter A, B, C, or D, or A, B, C, D, or E, where each letter represents each sequence, right? And then they are different. So letter A will represent a certain sequence, letter B will also represent a certain sequence. So S, C, D, E, right? So that's just the idea behind these two variables. And then also this one here, on your side, you might not do it because VPN has a tendency of complaining that you are outputting this part. Because remember, when you're doing this part, you're actually outputting this message here, which is choose either A or B to the console, where VPL doesn't recognize that certain output. So VPL, they just programmed it to mark the correct output, right? I mean, even as much as this is not the final output, it's actually a helping message to know what to help the user to know what to input into the console. But then VPL will regard it as an output, which is a wrong output according to VPL and how it is said. I hope I make sense. So that's why on some of you all will see okay, now just bear in mind, I'll keep on checking if my thing is still working correctly here. Yeah, that's why some of you will see the on the comment side when you mark your practical, and then it says go to the you when DPL inputs these two or whatever certain inputs, then your program outputs this instead of the expected output, which is different from what your program is outputting. But then yeah, so in my case, I'm just going to print this out to the console for my sake to know what I should do. On your case, when you're marking, you might just want to remove that those lines where you're outputting something that is not the final output to the console. Well, I hope I made sense. That's a lot of explaining. But anyways, so here I might as well just add because I'm going to do I might demonstrate all five of the examples. So we'll see though when I continue or E, right? Um and then enter your n value, and then which is basically the number of terms here that yeah the user is going to enter. So that's all, man. So and then I said I was explaining to some students that you can do this in two ways. I used a select case here to do or to differentiate my options. In this case, is cases, right? So one can use if statements, of which is fine also, but I won't use if statements because select cases they are way more, they're much nicer and not complicated. Because with if statement, you're gonna have to do the condition, then yeah, a lot of else ifs, what and all those things. While as in select case, I just say select case, right? Remember, the choice is the one that the user, the variable choice is the one that the user, well, it's the one that we're gonna use to get the option that the user input into the console, right? So we wanna see if that choice or that option, it's either case A, case B, or case C, D, or E, which I didn't add as yet. I only added case A and B because that's the example I showed on the previous video which I gave to you guys. So I used select case here. Don't be confused. I used select case because that's what I wanted to do. You're not forced to do it. You can use if statement, right? And then I said to you, or on the previous video, I said that the choice, remember, choice is declared as a string, right? So I said to you that variables, they can be manipulated in certain ways depending on the type of data types they are declared as or defined as. In this case, by choice here is defined as a string. And then by saying choice dot, I can while in this application that I'm using to code, it can show me the things I can use to manipulate this variable choice. There are a lot, quite a lot of them. And then on this one, I just only wanted to upper or to lower. You can choose between to upper or to lower. But then the idea behind this is I'm catering for a case where the user either enters a small case or a capital letter. So when I'm saying choice dot to lower, if the user enters a capital letter, then it's going to convert that capital letter into a small letter. That's what the to lower does. It turns that whatever information that is in this variable to lowercase, right? But you must be careful that it's supposed to match these things here. So it doesn't make sense for you to turn whatever here into lower while your cases here they are capital letters, because at the end of the day, these two won't match. I hope you get my point. So for them to match is either I change this to upper here or I change this one to letter A or small letter A, I mean to say. Now they're gonna match because now this will be changed to lowercase and then there's lower cases here, right? I hope it makes sense. So, but yeah, I was switching to upper here. Let's just stick to that. So yes, these are the things you can do understanding. Even the thing for let me just see if there are things inside here. Even integers, I think you can find yes, you can connect your string, you can compare, you can do the equals to wara. Well, these are the only functions you can do when a variable is declared as a integer. These are the only things you can do, you can use to manipulate this variable and terms, right? You can convert that whatever information to string. You can do that. You can compare it with another thing. You can, yeah, these are you can't, you won't understand these others. But then yes, my point is whatever variable you declare as, I mean whatever data type you declare variable is, you can, there are things you can use inside that data type that you can use to manipulate your variable. Or yes, yeah, in short. But anyways, that's not what I came here to help you guys with. Let's see if there's any comment. No. So let's move on. Let's get to the core of this live. So I'm going to give, this was the example I made on the, now I'm going to give a different one. Let's say we have, let's say for example, we have what, 15, right? And then we have, 3, no, not 3, 15, 12, 9, 6, 3, what did I do here? Okay. And then 3, then etc. Right? 15, 12, 9, 6, 3. The difference here is minus 3. So it is still an arithmetic sequence, and then obviously our T1 is 15 here. So I'm supposed to make a way to calculate this sequence while encoding, and then also depending on the number of terms that the user inputs here. So this number of terms will tell me, or will have, or I'll have to use this number of terms to calculate that sequence, well, based on a number of terms, of course. So, for example, if the user says they want the five terms, then I'm supposed to calculate or show the user five terms in that sequence. I hope it makes sense. So like I said, I just made this up now. So now I'm supposed to calculate a sequence that will, well, I'm supposed to calculate this thing code. I'm supposed to code this sequence. Yes. Then this is how it goes, right? So there are two ways that you can do this thing. You can use while loops, you can use for loops. I preferred while loops here because I don't know why I did. I preferred while loops, but for some reason I prefer to do while loops here. But let me show you how to do this in two ways: while loops and for loops, right? So I'm just going to edit on this one. Unfortunately, hopefully I won't lose you guys. I'm just going to edit. As you can see, that I've already done this code here, which was for the previous sequence, which I just erased there. So now our sum here, we the idea is actually, I can say next term actually, just to make it more to make it make sense in a way. Let me just say next term, right? So I declare this variable called next term, next t for next term, right? And then as an integer, and then I'm gonna initialize it, right? I'm initializing to the, I'm initializing it to the first term in the sequence. In my case is 50, right? So now my first term, I mean my, yes, my first term is 15. So I'm initializing my next t variable to 15. Nothing complicated here. This is just a variable. So I'm gonna say while, right, while n terms is greater than 0, um, then you do this. So while my number of terms is greater than 0, what do you want to do? I want to output the next term, of which now I'm supposed to output the initial one. Let me actually remove this and put space here to yeah, hope that will be better. And now I'm supposed to edit this one here. Okay, yes, that is wrong. I'm going to explain what's happening with this while loop. I just want to edit this, and then and then you'll see what happens. So yes, I believe this how this while loop is it's done here. I mean, this sequence is coded. So the idea is, right, I make this variable here called next term, and then I initialize it to the first term in the sequence, which is 15, right? And then which is 15. Then I said you can use two ways to do this: for loops and while loops. Now I'm using while loops. In a while loop, I say while n terms, which is the number of terms, is greater than 0, while my number of terms is greater than 0. So this while loop will run as long as this condition is true here. And it's true only if my number of terms is greater than 0. I hope that makes sense. So for example, if the number of terms is 2, just so yes, so it will come here and say, is 2 greater than 0? The answer is yes. Then everything here will be executed. And then actually this last code here, this last one here, where it says n terms equals to n terms minus 1, I'm decrementing. It's called decrementation here. I'm decrementing my number of terms, because now my while loop has run for once, right? Again, well, okay, the example goes like, if the number of terms is 2, it comes here and says, is 2 greater than 0? The answer is yes. It comes inside of this while loop, then it outputs this thing here. In this case, the next term, remember, we initialize it to 15, so it's going to output this 15, right? Now here it's going to calculate the next term. How does it calculate it? You take the previous term, which is the first term in this case, you minus 3, then you save the new term in the next term, right? So it's going to be 15 minus 3, which is 12. Then our next term, our new next term is 12. Then also here I decrement, I minus the number of terms because I've already outputted my first term here. So it's going to be 2 minus 1. Then my new term, then or the last term that I'm left with is 1. It comes here and says, is 1 greater than 0? The answer is yes. It goes inside again and outputs there our new next term, which is no longer 15 but 12, right? Then it calculates the new next term, which will be 12 minus 3, which is 9, and then decrement and say 1 minus 1, right, which is 0. It comes here and says, is 0 greater than 0? The answer is false. We all agree that 0 can be greater than 0, but 0 is equal to 0, right? So the while loop will be broken or will be exited, and then that's it. That's the case A. Then in meaning on the as a sequence for two terms, well two for number of terms which is 2, you only have two terms of course, which is 15 and 12. And then just for the sake of being sure that this thing is really correct, let me run this and see if the value is going to give us the correct thing or not. Okay, let me just check what's happening here. It's the first part where you say case A 15 12 9 etc. Line 12. No, it's not necessary actually. That's just to help me to know. I mean, it's a sequence. So in a sequence, if you still remember back in grade 12, you'd have your difference, your first term, just so you can find the formula of that sequence. In a way, that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to find the formula for this sequence. In this case, the formula is what? Well, okay, I don't know because I didn't calculate. But then, yeah, they're not necessary at all. They're just for me here. Remember, I said either the user press enters A or capital letter A. I've already covered for that case by doing this here, by doing select case choice to upper. I've already catered for a case where the user either enters A or capital letter A. Hope it makes sense. And then enter your value end value. Let's say we want 5 values, right? Then it's 15, 12, 9, 6, 3. Hope it makes sense. So we know that our while loops work. And then if you didn't understand, you want me to go through this again, just shout out in the chat before I move on to how you do that with using a for loop. Yeah, why is my live delayed? Is my live delayed or just that what I'm seeing here is the one that is delayed? But otherwise, yeah, if you okay, why am I even so looking there? Okay. Anyway, let us continue. Let us continue. To extend the deadline. Oh, please. Uh, okay, yeah, let us continue. Sorry about that. Just wanted to get out the message out there. I hope I answered you, Tele. But yeah. So now I'm going to demonstrate how to do this thing using a for loop, right? Um, so I'm going to comment this part here. Don't think I'm gonna need. Will I need? I think I might need this variable here, but I might not. I might not need the 50 now. Let me see. Let me see. Anyways, so I'm just going to comment this part here. Comment out the selected lines. The reason I'm not commenting out this one is because I might need this variable here. Maybe not initialized to 15, but I will need it. The live can be recorded. Yeah, I believe the live can be recorded. Yeah, actually, it is recorded automatically. After I'm done with the live, then it's supposed to be saved, or I'm supposed to save it, or supposed to be saved automatically. I'm not sure. But yeah. So with the for loop, it's actually maybe I can say it's more easier than what is happening here, which is a lot of things, because it's just going to be like for right um and come to think of it. Okay, let me just do for c as integer equals to 1 2 n terms, right? Then what here next c, which is not that important, but it is ideal to just to just put a c here. But anyways, and then what happens inside? So this is what is going to loop from 1 to number of terms, right? So I'm supposed to do it here. Okay, can I copy and paste? Is that okay? Is that okay? Ooh, wait. Uh, does does this solve my problem? Does this solve my problem? Again, how do you calculate the sequence again? The formula. How do you calculate the formula? I think I forgot. Uh, uh, A1, which is 15 plus 2n minus d, which is minus 3, minus 3n plus 3, right? And then 15 plus 3, which is 18. So I'm saying, so it's minus 3 into 1 plus 18, which will be 15. Then minus 3 into 2, which is minus 6. Minus 6, wait, what? Minus 6 plus 18. How much is it? Uh, mm, okay. So the formula goes like, I want to see something. I don't want to do this because I feel like plus 15 or 18 in this case, and then equals to 10, equals to like 10. Okay. So I'm going to use, okay, let it be 0, right? And then next, not that one, but this one, next t equals to that. And then multiplication, and then I eliminate this one here. So this is supposed to be the formula for our sequence. Any question? Oh, please. Okay, let's see. Did my live stop? It keeps on saying timeout whenever I try to read. Okay, that's okay. Yeah. So this is the other way of using a for loop. Well, not the other way of using a for loop, but the other way of calculating your sequence in a for loop manner. You can use this way here. So what happens here is that my for loop will run from 1 to the number of terms that the user inputs. So yes, and then we'll be using that C to run. And then you see I didn't do step here. So automatically my for loop will run 1 while incrementing by 1. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 up until the number of terms, right? So yeah, hence I didn't do step here. Or if you like, you can just say step 1, which is the same as not saying anything, right? And then so here I made a formula. You see where does this part comes in now? We're finding the difference and T1, because you can literally make the formula and then you just use your formula encoding. Because this is basically the formula of my sequence. This is supposed to give me the formula of my sequence based on the number of terms that the user inputs here. I hope it makes sense, right? And then after that, I'm putting I'm displaying that term, well, one term after the other, one term after another, right? So let me just run this one and see if it will work properly. So the idea is the user will input well, in this case we're dealing with case A, letter case A, right? And then we'll input the number of terms here. Let's assume for a short example, let's assume the number of terms is 3. So the for loops comes here and says for C as integer is equals to 1 to 3, right? Well, and then it's gonna say next equals to negative 3 into C, where C starts at 1, right? And then plus 18. The answer of this is 15, which is my first term in the sequence, right? And then it outputs that, it displays that onto the console, and comes back again next C, and then which is 2, right? 2, it is still within 1 and this number of wara here. And then next it will be negative 3 into 2. Now my C is now 2, and then it's going to be negative 3 multiplied by 2, negative 6 plus 18 is minus 12. Then minus 12 is my second term. It is displayed via this code here. Then it goes to the last one, which is the third term, which is number 3. Then my C is now 3. 3 multiplied by negative 3 is minus 9. That's 18 is supposed to be 9, right? And then it displays that to the console. So this makes sense. And then as you can see, it's short, brief, not complicated, only because we used this formula here, which is the formula of the sequence, or formula of our sequence. Now that I think about it, I wonder if I could have used a formula here. Now that I think, and actually I should have used my formula. Yes. Okay, let me run this before, and then you'll see what I mean by that. I hope this is not that is not confusing you guys at all. Um, yeah, I hope not. Anyways, uh, yeah, my PC is taking time to load for some reason. Aha. Remember, my case is A, then this time 6, and then voila, 15, 12, 9, 6, 0. So yeah, it works. So as I was saying, I was wondering if Vele I could have done the same as here instead of doing this. But then I use my formula, which is what I wanna try do now, because it seems more easy using this formula than complicating my life. Uh, so this is what I'm going to do. Going to uncomment this one. Don't worry, I'm not gonna. I'm just trying to make it better. That's the thing. I feel like it can be way much better than what I did here. Um, And then, ooh, okay, now I see what could potentially be the problem, because I'm gonna be forced to create a variable which okay, yeah, now I see. Okay, so um okay, let me see. Dim count as, oh man, come on, as integer equals to 0, I believe, right? And then here I say as count, as long as count is less than n terms, then here I say minimum. I'm gonna have to use count here, unfortunately. Can come to think of it, I'm going to have to increment this by 1, and then here I'm going to say equals to, so what's basically going to happen, then here I'm supposed to increment count, which you can just say count plus equals to 1, which is the same as saying count equals to count plus 1. Don't be confused. So this is the other way you can do your while loop, right? So at the end of the day, oh yeah, this will just be used to hold this next term here. Then the count will be used to count, well, same as what this for loop is doing here. Where is it? Same as what this for loop is actually, what I'm doing here is what this part that I this part of c as integer equals to 1 is the same as this part here, right? So here I'm basically, while my count is less or equal to n terms, so it's the same as saying while my c is, while in this case it's between 1 to n of terms, you do this. So here, while my count is less or equals to n terms, then you do all of this, and this is supposed to come after, actually, no longer before. It's supposed to come after. This is what I mean, right? So so what's basically happening, while my count is less than n of terms, I calculate my first term. Remember, my count is initialized as 1 here, so it's gonna be same applies. What the answer would be minus 15. Minus 15 is saved in here, it is displayed, and then my count is incremented, meaning my count is now 2. So I'm saying while 2 is less or equal to the number of terms, well, this will depend on number of terms that the user entered, right? Then you do this, you display, then you increment. I hope this makes sense. So now you have two ways to do your case A, either using the while loop or either using the for loop. And then in whichever scenario you're supposed to find the formula for your sequence, I think it makes it way much better for your thingy. Yeah, could you please have this before every fact due date? But like, let's see. Okay, no worries then. It's okay. Yeah. So let's move on to sequence B, right? I believe I'm done with showing. Yeah, with showing the arithmetic part, which is case A, which I believe is easy. It's what most of you found easy. But then if you didn't understand it, you maybe just code it, you just copy and paste. I believe you might now understand what's happening here. So yeah, let's move on to case B, of which again I won't use this part, this one here, but I'm going to use the opposite thingy. Um, Instead of this case that is shown here, I want to do the opposite, right? I want to do the opposite. I want to do the opposite. There they were, okay, let me multiply by 2. So it's 1 multiplied by 2 is 2, multiplied by 2 is 3, I believe. Wait, what am I saying? 1 multiplied by 2, 1 multiplied by 2 is 2, 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, 4 multiplied by 2 is 8, 8 multiplied by 2 is 16. How many times are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then from 16, I just do some weird stuff. Let me go the addition of 16. Let me do the addition of 4, 20, 24, 28, 32, and then wara, 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 wara. So, yeah, I'm just the aim here is not, I don't know if I'm going to complicate or to confuse the guys, but I don't like I literally don't want to answer the questions given in the practical. But for this case, I've already done it in the group chat. So if you are there, you saw, then yeah, shout out to you. But the aim is for you to understand what's happening. Because if it were to come in their practical semester test two, which is not that far away since we're going to be having recess, so you should know how these things are calculated and how where does the logic actually comes from, right? So yeah, so now I have this sequence here, right? Which is not that easy, but not also not that hard. As you can see, well, as you've heard, the first five terms I was multiplying by 2, right? And then the last terms, which I don't care how many they are, it's an addition of 4, which is, I think, the opposite of what's happening here, right? So the first five terms, it's multiplication of 2. Then the last terms from to whatever is actually the addition of 4. Okay, so now I'm supposed to find I'm supposed to code this sequence, ne? So that when the user says sequence b of however number of terms that the user want, then my program will out display those or will display that certain sequence. So also I'm going to demonstrate this in two ways, using the while loop, and then also using the for loop, right? So yes, just to help each other, I'm gonna say five five first terms, right? Five first terms. By the way, this is not necessary, but it's just to help you of what's of yeah, to help you understand what's happening here. So we know that our difference is 2. Well, not even our difference, geometric wara is 2, right? So how is it calculated again? How do you calculate this geometric sequence again? Is 2 divided by 1, then to get our difference, and then okay, now I forgot how the formula goes. Like, let me just search it quick. um Let me not I should have not eliminated anything, but I want for the geometric sequence now. uh Geometric sequence, that formula says, oh yeah, ratios. Yeah, I forgot about that. Example of a geometric sequence. And then I want the formula. How is the formula calculated? Um, AR sequence into n minus 1. Really? Oh. Okay, let's see. So 1 multiplied by 2 to the power 1 minus 1, which is 0. Okay, which will give me 1. That's fine. Then we get 1, which is basically 2 to the power 2 minus 1, right? Which is 2. Then 2 to the power 3 minus 1, which is 4. And then 2 to the power 4 minus 1, which is 3. 2 to the power 3 is 8. Then 2 to the power 5, 2 to the power 5 minus 1, which is 2 to the power 4, which is 16. Then okay, So from this first part here, our t of n, t of n equals to 2 to the power n minus 1, right? That's the formula of our first 5 sequence. And then again, I hope I'm not going to confuse you guys here, because I'm trying to find the formula so I can make my life better when I get to code this thingy. So yeah, first 5 terms is actually you're calculating it by saying, well, it's actually 1 multiplied by here, which is the first term, which is standing for a, well, not point, like 1 multiplied by wara, which is just 2, this whole thing here. So here I'm saying 2 to the power n minus 1. This is the formula for calculating the first 5 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To calculate these first 5 terms, you use this formula. The last terms, after 5, after our tn, well, t of n, remember the addition is 4, right? And then our thingy, so we're gonna have 20, so that equals to 20, not even 20, what am I saying? Because it's 4 multiplied by 1, so it's rather than 4 multiplied by n, it's 4n. So we're having 4 into n plus 16, I think, because 20 minus 4 plus 16, right? Because if I were to input 1 here, I will get 20. If I want to put 2 here, it will be 8 plus 16, which is 24. If I were to input 3, it will be 4 multiplied by 3, which is 12. Then 12 plus 16 is 28. Wara. This is the formula to get the following terms, well, the terms after the fifth one. So from 6 going upward, this is how the formula we're supposed to use to get those terms, right? So now, that was a lot of explaining. Now let's code this thing and see how it's gonna go, right? Using a while loop. So okay, me eliminate. We are still going to need 2 variables, right? And then use n term because it seems more next term, right? So we are, oh, not n term, what am I saying? Next t for next term, right? And then I'm initializing this to 0. Okay, so we are still going to need 2 variables. This is a case of a while loop. A while loop, we need 2 variables. One just specifically for finding the next value, and then the other one is for the counting the iterations in our while loop up until the condition is met. So yeah, that's the use of the count. Count is not, it's not used for it's only used for to help us with iterating or looping, and then at the same time incrementing up until our condition it's no longer true, or it's no longer met. That's the use of count. Has nothing special other than yeah, that fact only. So here I initialize my next term to 0, right? You'll notice that this might be different from the example I gave before now, mainly because I'm using these formulas now. On the previous video, I was not using the formulas. I was using I was calculating in another way, or was coding in another way to calculate this sequence of number b. So here's how it goes. While count, this is still the same, hasn't changed. While count is still less or equals to n terms, right? Nothing complicated here, right? But I am going to edit this for loop here. I mean if statement. So here I'm saying while my count is less or equals to number of terms. Number of terms, you're gonna get it from the user there above, right? And then the count is the one that you just initialized here at the top to 1. Ne? So I'm saying while my count is less or equal to number of terms, ne? Sharp. Then inside I'm gonna have an if statement. Remember the first 5 terms they are calculated using another formula. Then the terms going upwards, someone is calling me while I'm live. Um, Actually, two people have tried to call me, but it's fine. Anyways, so as I was saying, okay. Yes, as I was saying, the first five terms they are calculated using this formula, and then from the sixth term going upwards is a different formula. So now I'm going to create an if statement saying if my count is still less than 5, then that means it is still on this the 5 terms. Then I use this formula. Then otherwise, if my count is now incremented to above 6, or actually not above 6, above 5, then I use this formula to calculate the terms after the fifth term. Does it make sense? I hope it makes sense. So hence this part here, I'm saying if my count is still less than 5, right? Remember, count start at 1, and then it's gonna go up while when it continue looping, it's gonna go up, up, up. Also, it's gonna depend whether on the number of terms here, right? If the for in case, let's say the number of terms is 3, right? So, and then it's gonna say while count is less than the number of terms here. So our count is 1. So it's gonna say while 1 is less than 3, right? Then you do this. It's gonna come here and say is count less than 5. Remember, count is 1. So it's gonna say yes, the condition is true. Then this will be executed in here. Then after that, the execution, then the count is incremented by 1 here. That's what that's this is that's Yes, here we are incrementing count by 1. Yeah, and then after that, my count will now be 2. It can't say to the while loop again, it says is 2 less than 3. The answer is yes. Then it comes here and check the if statement. Is 2 less than 5? The answer is yes. Then this will be displayed, whatever this is in here. No, yeah. And then after that, count goes to 3. Then it comes in, is 3 less or equal to 3? The answer is true. Then my while loop is supposed to be cut. It is supposed to be cut though. Oh yes, yes. The answer is still true because the rate equals to the rate, right? Then it comes here and and then on the if element it says is the rate less than 5. The answer is yes. This will be executed. Then afterward it increments. It goes to 4, and then it comes here and says is 4 less or equal to the rate. The answer is no. So now my while loop will be broken or will be broken, and then yeah, then that will be the end of the sequence, right? So how do we do that? Remember, this won't execute this first. So now I'm going to use next term equals to the formula. Now we use this formula here. Let me just actually copy it, and then I'll just edit, and then we use count. Wait, what did I do? Okay, we use count here. Okay, yeah, that is so wrong. We use count instead of n. I hope this makes sense. And then yeah, does it make sense? So as long as my count here is less than 5, we're gonna be using this formula. Then after it is, oh yes, I'm supposed to display also. How are we going to display our thingy? Let's just use this method here. And then I display, and then here also I won't be using this, so it's going to be next t equals to the formula here, which we set to be okay. Let me just do that, and then the formula here is gonna be this one, right? This is only the else part is only if count. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to just put bracket brackets here for boldness purposes. Boldness. So yeah, um, does this make sense? I hope it makes sense. How many people? How many? Okay, only one person watching. Which is fine. This live will be saved anyway, so you can come and watch. Even though I'm doing a lot of up and up and down, but it's fine. So yeah. Okay, so now, yeah, I hope this makes sense. I hope it makes sense. So this part here is only for a case when my count is less than five, meaning my terms in a sense they are less than five. Then I use this formula to calculate those terms. The moment my count is no longer less than five, then I'm going to be using this formula to calculate the terms afterward, which is basically this is, oh yes, I don't think, oh damn, ooh, okay, ooh, okay, there's a trick to this now. Um, mhm. Okay, wait, what's happening here? Let's see. Mm, I don't think this is going to be correct though. I literally don't think so. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, no, I don't think this is going to be correct. I was not supposed to use count here. Actually, this formula is it's incorrect. Come to think of it, one is not. Let's see. B. Let's say I want 8 times. Yep. 1, 2, 4, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 8. So I'm guessing the 36 come from 8, 4 multiplied by this case will be 5, which is 20, then plus 16, then it gives you 36. Yeah, we'll have to do some switch up in here. Okay, let's go. Let's see how this thing goes. One, let's say five. Okay, so one equals 5 comes here. One is less than 5 years. Then it does this. Okay, I think I'm supposed to say equals to here, if I'm not mistaken, because now it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And when it's 5, then it does the same thing again to calculate the fifth one. Okay, I think now it's supposed to calculate the fifth term. Oh, it's supposed to calculate the fifth term, but then still the else part is incorrect, and I'll explain why it is incorrect shortly. People are no longer watching the live, but it's fine because we are learning, well, I'm learning in this case, um, and this live is going to be long. It's not expected to be this long at all. 12, damn. So B, and then let's say 8. Yep, now we know that I can be sure that my five terms, first five terms, they can be executed. Let me see if I were to input terms that are less than 5, maybe say 3, just to see if the thing works. And then, yep, it does work. 1, 2, 4, which is my first 3 terms in the sequence. 1, 2, 4. Now to this part here, um tricky, man, but the idea is not even the idea. But I think the tricky part is, remember, this is not the first term in my sequence, it's actually the middle term. Ne? So, oh, how am I going to do it? Oh, so because here it's 16 plus 4, then what. So here the idea is, ne, instead of doing this formula here, now I am going to switch up to next t plus 4. Does this make sense? Because from the last time that will be executed here, right, will be 16, right? Then from 16, I'm adding by 4. So 16 plus 4, 20, then plus 4, which is being done here. So eventually, I'm depending on my last term, which I calculated on the fifth term. So I might not explain this better, but I'm depending on this next term here. You see, this if statement will run as long as my count is on the it's less or equals to the fifth term. So on the fifth term, exactly on the fifth term, ne, it will calculate. But the moment it goes to the next term, or the moment that my count is now 6, this condition is no longer met. Ne? Then we come to this part. But the trick is, I depend on the previous term to calculate the next term, which by the previous term is 16, because that's what the fifth term is. So for me to calculate the sixth term, I depend on this previous term, which is 16. Hence, now I'm supposed to change this formula from being like this, because now my first term is no longer 20, but it's actually, yeah, 20 is in the middle of the sequence, as you can see here. So me calculating this formula here, I took it as if 20 is in the first, it's actually the first term where I was wrong. I hope you can spot the difference. So now I'm depending on this previous term here, which is 16, and now that 16 is calculated on this part here at the top. So right, hence here I'm just saying next plus 4. So that next ne, will be the 16 that is calculated here. Then I'm just taking that 16 then plus it by 4 to give me 20. Then it increments count from 6 to 7. Then it comes in the 7 less than, maybe let's say number of times was 8. Is 7 less than 8? Yes. And it comes here, it says is 7 less than 5? No. Then it doesn't execute this. It actually goes here where my previous next was 20. Then we're going to do 20 plus 4. Then it's 24. Then it's outputted. Then it increments to 8. Then it says is 8 is less or equals to 8? Then it's yes. Then is 8 less than 5? No. It comes here, then it says 24 plus 4, which is 28 displayed. Then it comes here, it says 9. Then it says it's 9 less than 8? No. Then my loops or my sequence is now complete. Now this should be correct. This should be correct. Again, maybe explaining it, I might have complicated or confused you guys. But yeah, that's just, I think that's just coding. You need to have an open-minded thingy, brain, I guess, open-minded mind. So for you to be to spot, go to here, you're supposed to do this. It doesn't come naturally, but it comes with practicing, right? Because there's no way I could have guessed, go to, I should have used the wara there. The I should have done it differently. It's just a matter of practicing. So now let's say we want 9 thing, and now it's supposed to output correctly. You see, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, which is eventually my last terms, my sequence. Yeah, 1, 2, 4, 16, 24, 28, 32. Very cool, right? Very cool, Sham. Very cool. But anyways, um, should I showcase this in a for loop manner? I'm no longer sure. I feel like time is not on my side and I want to sleep because I have an 8 a.m. class. 8 a.m. class. So I'm just going to leave it like this because I feel like it makes sense still. It makes sense still. The only difference is that in for loop you're going to say for, For example, what we did here, for C as integer equals to 1 to number of terms, then inside you just put this if statement here. But then instead of using count, you're gonna be using the variable that you declare this on the for thingy. So instead of using count, you're gonna be using C. But then the for loop will have to be, I mean, the if statement will have to be there. This if statement will have to be there, and then you won't have this also. So the for loop will be way much shorter. So yeah, I guess you can just say let this be an example. Actually, what is it? A homework for you guys to just convert this into a for loop. If you've already done it, then that's okay. Again, the sequence that I used here is this one. I didn't use the one in the textbook. I hope that makes sense. And then this formula, as a result, it was useless because now my first term is not 20, but it's actually 1, so it was useless for me now. But this one was very useful as yeah, it comes first here, right? Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I really hope that makes sense, Jam. Who we? Mm, la la. Okay, now let's continue to case B, which I'm just going to add here because I didn't have case B before. I mean case C, I mean to say, right? So case C, we were given a quadratic formula thingy. So again, I'm going to use quadratic. I'm going to use this thing here. I really wish they gave me a formula this time around. I don't want to be calculating. Okay, 1, 2, 4, 7, 11. And look like a quadratic sequence. That is it similar to the one from the practical? Let me just check. Where is this person now? Um, okay, where is this person again? Da, 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 da. Okay, I can't seem to find the person who sent me the question paper. Okay, found them. 1, 3, 6, 10, 15. This one is 1, 2, 4, 7, 11. What. I might use this one. As long as it comes with a formula, I really don't wanna be calculating the formula at this point. I just wanna get done with this thing. It's the formula n squared plus 3 1 squared 4 2 squared is 4. Okay, let me use this one actually. Well, this is a simple one though. Oh yeah, no, this is a simple one. 4 7 12 19. Yeah, let me use that formula. Well, that sequence in that case. So let's say we have a sequence in this manner. We have a sequence for what is it? For 5 6 4 7. Oh, 4 7 then 12. So 7 minus 4 is 3, 12 minus 4 is 5, then 12 plus 7 is what? 19, right? Then from 7 goes to 9, then 19 plus 9 is gonna be 28 if I'm not mistaken. Then 28 plus 9 plus 2 is 11, 28 plus 11 is 39. If I'm mistaken, I'm not sure. But I think that's what does this, that's how this is calculated. Yeah, yeah, I believe so. Then etc. Then our Tn here, Tn, right? It's equals to, well, this formula is already given to me, so when I would have to calculate, yeah, you'd have to calculate the plus 3. I think that's the formula, right? N squared plus 3, yes. N squared plus 3, so that's our formula. Well, yeah, we don't need much actually. We don't need much. So we're gonna again, I'm going to use a for loop this time. Again, I'm going to need next t as an integer, right, equals to 1. What? Next, oh no, equals to 0, right? I'm using a for loop this time since I used a while loop on the sequence B. So for let me use t this time for job streaks as integer equals to 1 to n terms, right? And then what do I do inside my next term? Equal, not next, next t equals to the formula, which is given by t, right, to the power t to the power of 2 plus 3. Does this make sense? From double t into the word option 2, this only power double to integer. Would this give a double though? I don't see this ever giving a double number. That's the thing. Because t will never be a decimal number. T is always going to be a whole number. And when you square a whole number, it always gives you a whole number. And when you add it for a whole number, it gives you a whole number. So I really don't get why it's complaining here. But okay, it's okay. Let's just convert this thing. C int, right? Just so we don't, and then supposed to display, okay, display, yeah. So basically this is just case C, which is the easiest thing ever, well, based on whether you have solved the equation or not. If you have solved the equation of that sequence of case C, because this is all you're supposed to do, then it's easy. Remember, t started as 1, so it's going to be 1 squared plus 3, which is just 4. Because 1 squared is 1, then plus 3 is 4. And then 2 squared is 4 plus 3 is 7. Then 3 squared is 9 plus 3 equals to 12. Then 4 squared is 16 plus 3 equals to 19. So blah 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 blah, and then continues up until the n times here. You can see that this section case is actually, I don't want to say the easiest, but as long as you've solved the formula for that sequence, it becomes the easiest. It's the same as case A in a way. As long as you find the formula for that case A, then your thing becomes the easiest to solve. Makes sense? And then yeah, in a while loop manner, you'll have another variable here that will, yeah, just like what I did here. And then except you're not gonna have an if statement, but you're actually gonna have, yeah, now you're gonna have to look at case A to see what I did there, and then you'll understand how to transfer this part into a while loop. Yeah, so lucky for you, I'll put this code in the in the description so you guys can access it whenever. Let me see if there's actually a person watching now. Oh, it's been a while. I'm now tired of explaining this thing, and I've started at 11. Now it's 1 hour 15, so it's becoming a 2 hour thing now. Eh, hectic. So case C, which is hard. I don't want to lie. Case D, I mean to say, which is hard. Wait, where is it not? Okay. Case D is hard, guys. Case D is hard, and literally, man, there's no way that I can give you an example on how to do this rather than just changing what they use there and use a different thing. But there's no example that I can come up with that could be similar to case D. Is there? I mean, I feel like maybe the opposite thing that I can do there is to do the opposite of what I do in there. Instead of displaying like A, then A, then travel A, then quadra A, I do the opposite. I start with the end term that the user enters, then I output those certain things, then going lesser, 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 lesser up until a single thing. Does it make sense? For example, if the user enters the rate that they want 3 terms, so meaning on the third term we're gonna start with the third term. Yeah, the first term will have three things, the second term will have two, then the third one, which is the last, will have one. So the opposite of what I do it there. Hmm. Again, which is not easy. Okay, let me just try and see if it makes sense or what. Because for now I don't have any idea on how to solve that thingy, and I have a feeling which is not it's actually not going to be it's not going to be this. But let's see. Whew. For the as integer equals to 1, 2, and terms, but then I say for um s as integer equals to 1, 2, c, then what do? You display what? You display. Hey, is this going to work? Not even, I can't even believe this, eh? Because like I said, I didn't get to solve this number D. If it gets hectic, then I'm afraid I'm gonna have to. Okay, maybe this part won't be necessary, right? But here I might need to actually output a space. What did I do? But here I might need to actually output a space. Let's see how it goes because I really don't know. Oh my gosh. Mm, does this make sense? I'm not sure at all. Is it going to work? I'm not sure. I ain't sure at all. And this works better in a for loop. Now that I think about it, a while loop would just complicate things. I don't wanna lie. A while loop will just complicate things. So number D, and then while we say we want 5. Ooh, it works. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? Okay, but like I was saying, I didn't expect this to work. I don't wanna lie. So can I explain this? I think I can. So okay, our sequence goes like this, right? Right. So you can take this as the first term, second term, third term, fourth term, and fifth term. Basically, they are terms, right? But then in that first term, in those terms, we have loopings, or we have, how do I put this then? Because in the first term, we have one loop. In the second term, we have two loops. In the third term, we have three loops. In the fourth term, we have four loops. So, okay, let me explain this via this thing here. What's happening in the for loop? Remember, my for loop will start from 1 to number of terms. Ne? C start at 1, right? And then the inside for loop, this is nested for loop, by the way. The inside for loop is start at 1, but then it goes to number C. So it runs from 1 to number of C, right? Remember, my C started as 1. So what's happening here is going to say, okay, for C as integer equals to 1 to number of terms, ne? My C start as 1. Put that in your head. Now, the next for loop says for S as integer equals to 1 to C. Remember, C started 1. So this is eventually 1 to 1, right? Then what do? I write next. Next, what is next equals to? Next equals to A, which will eventually be the next A here. Makes sense, nothing complicated here. Then it comes here and then the output this space, which is this space here, right? It's fine. Now C goes to 2, because eventually let's assume go to, well, 5 terms obviously. Let's assume go to the number of terms there. We're supposed to output 5 of them. Now C goes to 2, right? Now our C is 2. So what's going to happen here? Now our for loop is going to run from no longer from 1 to 1, but from 1 to 2, because C is now 2. So what's going to happen? It's going to run for the first time. It output the A, which is eventually this first A here. And then the runs for the second time, because remember it runs from 1 to 2, then it's going to output this second A here. Then our for loop is done. Our second for loop is done. Then now this one is executed, which is eventually the space, this space here, right? Now, and then C goes to 3. Now our C is 3. So now our inner for loop runs from 1 to 3, no longer from 1 to 2, but from 1 to 3, right? So it's gonna run for the first time, right? And then which will be eventually this A here, first A, and then the runs for the second time, the second A, then the runs for the third time, which is the third A. Now our inner for loop has done, then it comes here, it output this space, and then our C goes to 4, which is eventually our next term, which is eventually our fourth term. Then war, and all those things. That's basically what's happening here. So yeah, hope you got that. I hope you, whoever who is watching here, whoever that is watching here, I hope you understood that. And then yeah, because I'm moving on now. There's no need to do this in a while loop. I think it's gonna complicate things to try to do this in a while loop, right? So this is way better explained. Now we are going to case D, where case D also, I don't know if they should, I should, if there's going to be a proper example for me to do. Okay, why are you doing that? Okay, to demonstrate it, because it's also just one of the sequence that's just out of this world. I don't know who thinks of that sequence. um Apparently the sequence goes like 0, right? Does it? Yeah, 0, 1, -1, 2, -2, 3, -3. Someone used a mod to do this thing, which I believe is the easiest way to solve. Wait, is this the last thing? Oh yeah, this is D, not D. Should I do this? Because I feel like I've already gave this part away. Like I no longer feel to do this, because again I can't think of an example which I can make up that is literally the opposite of that sequence. I literally can't think of that idea, that example. I can't at all. I mean, maybe the the opposite thing is maybe instead of once I say 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then -2, -4, -6, -8. But then at the same time, that's just basically giving you guys the answer, because I'm gonna use the same logic, which is what I didn't want to do. Unlike here on the ABC, where I can actually formulate my own sequence. Yeah, I felt like I gave enough for now. I feel like I gave enough for this video. I don't feel like doing this, but this is already solved in your by someone who sent a picture in the group. So if you're not lazy, just go through the chats. You may eventually you'll see the picture, you'll see how the person got to calculate this. It was very a smart way that I couldn't think of, and I don't think I would think of that way. So yeah, but I think overall this is it. I mean, it's coding, yes. It's not one of your skills and abilities, maybe can say, but yeah, it's not that hard to understand at all. I don't believe it's hard to understand. You just have to give it time. You see the time you are the amount of time you are giving text, even though it tells you guys. But then if you just give it, if you just give this module also that time, a bit of time, maybe you'll see the difference. That is not that bad actually. So as I said, I am actually going to copy all this code here and then paste it in the description, so you wouldn't have to come to me and say, hey, wara wara wara, blah blah blah, the thingy or can I come out all those things. So yeah, otherwise I believe, let this be the end of this video. I'm just going to cut it here, and then yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video and then it was very helpful somewhere somehow. Otherwise, oh yeah guys, okay, but then I'll make a poll in the group chat. So I wanted to know if you guys would love me to going through the informatics over the recess, and then just to help those who didn't even, like, can't even understand a single thing in coding or informatics. Then via recess, then I'm gonna be going through the coding part, and then yeah, otherwise, good night, have it late, and also good luck with your practical.